Today, we're diving into Tiffani Bova's Growth IQ. It's basically a playbook for tackling that one massive challenge that haunts every single business. How do you keep growing year after year without eventually hitting a wall?
And it really all boils down to this one question, right? This is the thing that keeps founders and CEOs up at night. You have that initial burst of success, that amazing climb, and then, for so many companies, the momentum just fizzles out. Why?
Well, the numbers are pretty sobering. A staggering 87% of all companies will hit what's called a growth stall, a period where things just plateau. And what's even crazier, only a tiny handful of them ever really get back on track. So this isn't some rare thing. It's practically a universal part of the business life cycle.
So what's going on here? Well, ironically, a lot of the time, the culprit is success itself. I love this quote from Bill Gates because it just nails it. Success can make you complacent. It creates these massive blind spots. You get so focused on what used to work that you completely miss the fact that the world, your customers, the tech, it's all changed around you. You think you're invincible, right up until the moment you're not.
Okay, so how do you avoid that trap? This is where Tiffani Bova's Growth IQ framework comes in. And it's important to know, this isn't just another list of tactics. Think of it more like a new operating system for your brain, a whole new way to think about growth so you can make the right moves at the right time.
The whole thing is built on 3 core ideas. First up is context. You have to be brutally honest about the reality of your market today, not the market from 5 years ago. Second is combination. Real sustainable growth never comes from one single silver bullet. It's always about layering different strategies. And third, and this might be the most important part, is sequence. Doing things in the right order can make all the difference.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, Bova lays out 10 distinct paths a company can take. We've got everything from the classics, like expanding your products, to modern must-haves, like nailing the customer experience. To really see how this framework clicks, we're going to zoom in and take a closer look at 2 of these paths.
First on deck is customer experience, or CX. You know, in today's world, this has become the real competitive battleground. It's not just about what you sell anymore. It's about how you make your customers feel at every single touchpoint with your brand.
And if you think this is just some fluffy nice-to-have, think again. The numbers don't lie. A massive 86% of customers say they are willing to pay more for a better experience. They're not just hoping for it, they're actively looking for it and rewarding it with their money. That makes CX one of the most powerful growth levers you have.
So let's look at the 2 sides of this CX coin. On one hand, you've got a company like Sephora. They built their entire empire on a killer customer experience. Their whole try-before-you-buy model with experts on hand was a total game changer. But then you have the cautionary tale, Starbucks. They got so big, so fast, that they started prioritizing speed and efficiency over that cozy coffee experience that made people fall in love with them in the first place. They almost stalled out completely because they lost their CX soul. And you don't have to take my word for it. When Howard Schultz came back as CEO to fix things, he said it himself. They'd lost their passion for the customer. They chased growth so hard, they forgot what mattered, and it nearly sank them. The big takeaway here is that CX isn't just one path among many. It has to be woven into every other path you take.
All right, let's move on to our second path, because this is where things start to layer together. This one is customer base penetration. Now, it sounds a bit jargony, but the idea is actually incredibly simple. The easiest and fastest way to grow is usually by selling more to the people who already love you. And the data on this is it's a slam dunk. Your chance of selling to an existing happy customer is about 65%. Your chance of selling to a brand new person who's never heard of you, it plummets to around 12%. It literally costs you 6 or 7 times more to get a new customer than to keep an old one. So focusing on your base, it's not just easier, it's way, way smarter.
And here again, we see this fascinating split. Red Bull is a masterclass in this. After they literally invented the energy drink category, they didn't immediately rush to go global. No, they spent 5 full years focused only on their home turf in Austria, building an absolutely fanatical fan base. Only then did they expand. Then you have Sears. They had one of the most loyal customer bases in American history, but they got complacent. They totally ignored the changing context, the internet, e-commerce, and they just stopped giving their customers what they wanted. They let their greatest asset just die on the vine.
This timeline really drives home how brilliant Red Bull's sequencing was. They launch in '87. They don't even leave Austria for 5 years. It takes a full decade before they touch the US market. And they don't even think about new products until the 2000s. You see the pattern? Penetrate the base first, then accelerate to new markets, and only then expand the product line. It's a perfect combination executed in the perfect sequence.
This quote from Red Bull's co-founder explains exactly why they did it that way. They knew they were creating a market out of thin air. They couldn't afford to be spread too thin. They had to build this super concentrated, passionate core of believers first. That deep customer penetration was the launchpad for everything that came after.
So this is all fascinating stuff, but how do you actually apply it? The whole point of Growth IQ is to help you become a growth navigator for your own company, so you can steer the ship no matter what the market throws at you.
It really comes down to these 3 simple, powerful steps. First, you have to assess your context. What's really going on out there? Second, choose the right combination of growth paths for you. And please remember, imitation is not a strategy. What worked for Sephora is not guaranteed to work for you. And finally, you have to execute those paths in the right sequence. The order is absolutely everything.
And that really just leaves us with one last big question. I want you to take a hard look at your own company, your own team. What growth path are you on right this second? Is it still the right one? And based on your context, what's the next combination you should be thinking about? To put it another way, is it time to jump?